Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Secretary, always good to see you. Thank you for your service and your busy travel schedule. You know, if it's me, I'm going to raise an issue that I share with a lot of folks on this committee, but particularly my friend, the chair, around CDFIs. You know, Senator Crapo, who is the co-chair of the CDFI caucus, you know, broadly bipartisan. We got 28 senators, equal number of Ds and Rs. You know, this should be a no-brainer, and I appreciate in private and in these testimonies that you've reaffirmed the values of CDFIs. So I was more than a little bit surprised, since we get an 8-to-1 leverage off of every federal dollar that goes into this public-private partnership, when the administration's fiscal year 26 budget seeks to cut the CDFI programs by over 50%, number one. And at the same time, the Department, Treasury, seems to be slow walking the deployment of the existing 25 funds, since 75% of them have not been, of the appropriated funds have been actually obligated and spent out. So first question should be a really easy no-brainer. Can you go ahead and commit, yes or no, that the administration will follow the law and go ahead and obligate the unspent 75% of the fiscal year 25 CDFI funds?
Senator, this is the first I heard of it. I will commit to having an answer to you.
Well, I just say, listen, I have great respect for you, as we know. It's against the law to withhold appropriated funds. You've been supportive of this. Yep. I'll even, if we need to, I can get the chairman to nudge you a little bit as well. But you know, it is concerning to me that 75% of the funds.
Senator, this is the first I've heard of it. I've consistently stated that.
No, you've been great. So let me just go to
we will have an answer to you by the beginning of next week.
Okay.
And Senator Warner's right. That's my next question if I had one. So.
Thank you. So let's go to the 26. Fiscal year budget, where you're cutting CDFI fund by over 50%. And I guess I don't get it. These are 8-to-1 leverage funds. Every federal dollar get a great leverage return in the private sector. You know, there was a review by which was fine, of CDFI and how they were going or not was going. And, you know, your department has affirmed to both Senator Crapo and myself and all of our colleagues that the CDFI fund programs are statutorily sound. So if they're statutorily sound and they got an 8-to-1 return on every federal dollar in terms of affecting underserved communities, why are we cutting the whole program by 50% in fiscal year 26?
Yeah, so Senator, I understand the bipartisan support. We have created a new $100 million award program for rural communities. So I hope using that we can rebuild the seed.
Well, I would ask you to take a look, because I know about the rural program, and I support rural CDFIs, but there are suburban needs, there are urban needs, and I just really think, and I know you support what Senator Crapo and I and others do, this 8-to-1 leverage. I hope you will go back and take a fresh look at that. I think this is one of the areas where there is huge bipartisan support, and we ought to not walk away, and I'm grateful for your willingness to take a look at that as well. I want to move to another one that we've talked about. I think one of the things about our system, and we all know we need ways to improve taxpayer compliance and make things better at the IRS, but I think our whole system works on voluntary compliance. And we've got about a 85% of our citizens pay their taxes on their own. I think that's a lot contingent upon their trust that their personal data is not going to be manipulated or used elsewhere. So I've raised this with you, and a number of written letters on this. We've been hugely concerned about the Doge boys coming in and potentially accessing this information. And I can tell you, I hear from taxpayers regularly in Virginia who are afraid about whether they should go ahead and work with IRS going forward. We wrote to you in April. We wrote to the acting commissioner, Faulkner, on this issue, and he basically said nothing to see here. So this notion that data is going to be protected, but at the same time, the IRS Doge boys came up here and at the staff level briefed about the fact that they are creating these tools to suck out information. And my just couple last comments, I've actually put a bill in to try to increase the penalties on misuse of that private information. But can you again, in front of us, assure us that the private information of citizens that will get us that 85% voluntary compliance will not be abused in terms of the Doge process of sucking out this IRS information?
So, Senator, what you're referring to is 6103 of the IRS code, which ensures taxpayer privacy. And as I have said, some enthusiastic people, I think, had the motto, move fast and break things. At Treasury, we move deliberately and fix things. And we have made sure that any access is compliant. And we are, I've repeatedly said, collections, privacy, and customer service. And on the privacy aspect, as you know, there was a leak in the previous administration through a contractor who is now in jail. I can't remember whether he was fined $5,000 or $10,000. We do not know the terms of his plea deal, but I would support an increase in both the monetary penalty and the jail time.
Absolutely, and we work together on my bill. Last point of my time's overrun, but there are huge concerns, at least in my state, that these Doge boys are sucking that information out, and I think you'd find in individual conversation with other senators, this is not unique to Virginia. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.